good. Just, Hi everyone, I'm back on today. Today I'm live on TikTok, YouTube, and my Facebook channel. I have my phone up above my computer so it can be going up and down. By saying like on my I'm very it's unique type of spirit guide, like consciousness and what have you. Different different things, channels. Um, like I said before, my kind of hard. And when I'm doing live videos, you never know what to expect. So I've said it a number of times. Sometimes my channel is not for everyone. If you're coming in, welcome. I just heard what do I do? I don't read tarot cards or what have you. My YouTube channel is Spirit to Spirit, Teachings of Going Within Self. So a lot of different things come up. Right now, like I describe what I'm doing as I go through this. And today, it being Valentine's Day, I'm sending many blessings to everyone on Valentine's Day. Having a fantastic one. And if there are people that you come across that are less fortunate to have someone around at this time, please spread the love, share the love with them. Because at this time of year, um, we celebrate love. I mean, which love should never have just one day, but it's set aside, and it's hard because it's more commercialized, and that's the part that bothers me because a lot of us like to go out and have dinner and what have you, and it's more of like cook dinner with each other. I can't tell you what to do or what have you, but to me that's pure romance. That's when you're doing something together as a family. It's not just about the romantic partner or what have you. It's the family members. It's everyone as a whole. I do clear energy, yes. Some may be wondering, like, when I'm talking, who am I talking to? Well, I'm talking to the collective. I'm talking to everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to see what you're writing there or what have you. I just heard, am I a telepath? Well, um, yes, and I have control over it. When I open up and allow myself, I do that. As I said before, I connect on many forms of deep levels. So I will actually feel the spirit to spirit. I will actually physically see. If you're sitting in front of me, I will physically see the changes in you, and I know that it's not so much you who has a disdain in that manner. It's a part of the spirit that is connected with you that sees a part of spirit connected with me, and those spirits are going back and forth. So if there's a jealousy, I know that it not necessarily is that person that is jealous. Maybe it's a form of spirit that is always jealous of that part of the spirit that they see. It's like the connection that is like, so this year can be a really hard time of year for people, like the holidays usually are. Because like people have lost family members, or the family members aren't there, or they've had traumatic experiences in this time. Some have even felt that taking their own life was actually an alternative. We think that it is, but it's actually not, because when you feel like you're alone and what have you, know that you're never alone. Okay? You're feeling that way because put a mask on, and I've done it myself. Um, this time of year, I can be hard sometimes because I never really experienced Valentine's Day on a pure romantic level, what have you. And I actually, being honest, I actually find it hard to accept gifts. um, and it's more of the part of me that always felt like gifts always came with a stipulation behind it. Um, I have no problem giving gifts. It's just the part of receiving. That's why I know I have moderators, I guess they're called. They come in and tell me like to share my mind, say like, subscribe, and what have you. But I can't make you do that. That's entirely up to yourself. I'm not going to ask for it because I'm still like parts of me are still trying to figure out. Okay, what am I bringing to offer people? But I know what I'm bringing forth. But see, the thing is, why I find it hard to say anything about receiving gifts or anything like that is because when I'm doing this, okay, it's actually it helps me to heal also. Because if I'm healing you, then you're not only are you healing, but you're healing the spirit aspect of yourself of different versions. I said this channel is not for everyone. And I'm feeling it like right in here because on this day, a lot of people have have something to say, and sometimes it's breakups. And I'm going to say like, why are you waiting for Valentine's Day to break up with someone? Are you really trying to hurt them? I'm not being judgmental here or anything like that. I'm just bringing it forward and saying, like it said to be a love day, but there's so many hearts that get broken and feel left out and unloved. So this day, it 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 uh, it bothers me in a lot of ways because a lot of people feel like they're letting someone else down because they can't afford to go buy roses and chocolates and take them out to dinner or what have you. And it's not about the commercialism because everything's been commercialism. Gifts, gifts, gifts. The Grinch. He was so angry. Gifts, gifts, gifts. And it was never supposed to be about the gifts because you are your gift. You have gifts. Okay? And it's nice to be able to give gifts. It's nice to be able to receive gifts. But it's become an expectation. So in this time of year, there's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot of I'm going to say it's like there's a lot of cutthroat, especially when you're going to buy something because they put these great big deals on, and then it's like Christmas. People are fighting over one thing or another, and it's like, wait a minute. I always thought the holidays were supposed to be about just being with your loved ones, okay? Because the best gift that you can give someone is your love and your time at that day in a good way, where everyone is sharing it. Basically, where do I get my knowledge from? I get it from spirit because I've allowed myself to open up to something bigger than myself. I've allowed myself to see all parts of myself. Um, I keep myself close sometimes, and it's usually because I want to understand. Well, not usually. It's because I want to understand where people are coming from, and not a lot of people want to do that because a lot of the time people just don't. It's like I don't want to hear it. Well, I look at it this way. Okay, you don't want to hear me, or you don't want to hear that person, but you expect those same people that you don't want to hear. You expect them to be open to hearing you. Okay, so that's the part that it's like we're supposed to be working on ourselves. And then so much stuff comes in and it distracts us from being able to do that. So we become more stressed and then we're throwing it on each other. So when times like this does come, we feel alone. Even if you are or with someone, you can still feel alone. And that's where people get that mixed up. They think that because nobody's around, that makes you alone. No, I'm alone with myself most of the time and I enjoy it. Because if you can't enjoy your own company, then you really need to see yourself because you are your everything. Okay? And when you find yourself, both aspects of yourself, the center, it's you find the masculine, you find the feminine, okay, and you start working together with yourself, with like they say about lose your ego, lose your ego. Okay, yes, there's losing your ego, but there's the part of losing your ego altogether and forgetting where you came from, and then you don't understand or have a clue where someone else is coming from, so you become ignorant to it, and you forget where you came from the depths that you came from the bottom of Pandora's box where you came from, because you had to come out of Pandora's box. You had to come out of your own taboo. You had to come out of your own ugly truths that we put down here and say, I don't want to deal with it. So if we're not dealing with it, then we're not getting anywhere. Right now, I feel like an energy trying to pull at my heart as if to say, like, where are you coming from, lady? Like, who the heck do you think you are? Well, it's not who I think I am. It's who I know I am. Because I'm learning to get to know myself. And I know that the more and more that I get to know myself, the more and more I begin to understand and become less judgmental. And when I am judgmental or critical or like my way is the right way, I catch myself. And when I catch myself, I call myself right out, like even in public. And it's like, um, I've always found Valentine's Day really hard because of experiences that I went through. Okay. And I know that a lot of others have gone through it. So I'm not the only one. And when I say I, it's not so much as in it's just me. I'm actually explaining or telling my experiences so others know that you're not alone. You're not alone experiencing this. And not always are you experiencing yourself. And some people, they find that very difficult to understand or comprehend. It's like, well, how can I not be feeling myself? It's my experience. Well, it may be what you're experiencing, but it's not your experience. There's the part of like, okay, You know, I love being able to buy things. I usually go to the thrift store because one man's trash is another man's treasure in some aspects. Or sometimes you actually go in, if you go into a thrift store or secondhand place or what have you. I don't go in looking for a specific thing. I just kind of just go in and have a look around. And if something is drawn to me, then it's drawn to me. I get energies or like psychic attacks that come in, and it's an attack right now, like right here. Okay, so it's like I was telling that spirit that is at the spirit that they see within me. It's like they're trying to choke that person. But see, the thing is, when you go through your trials, when you go through your experiences, you're actually preparing yourself for the possibilities of what could happen to psychic attacks, to visions. And right now, it's like, yeah, like you want to rip me here, go for it. I've already been ripped apart, and I will share that part right now because when I say like people are thinking like, oh my gosh, like is this lady delusional or great? No, I'm connected with spirit, so I'm feeling. And when I first really started going through it this time, I had a part where it was like I had said that it was like I became a wild animal or what have you. I was going every time. I didn't finish it because when that happened, it was actually extremely traumatic because I couldn't comprehend what was going on. I knew what was happening, but I couldn't comprehend it because ripping apart, like I said, somebody was trying. It was like it was a spirit part, that's trying to rip my ribs out, trying to rip my heart out, trying to choke me, rip my throat out, and gouge my eyes out, and twist my head off. And that was all in the spiritual, the spiritual darker realm. And that stuff does exist. And a lot of people have experienced it and they've tried to express it. And when Valentine's comes or Christmas or the holidays or what have you, and people are feeling at their lowest, very low, that's when the attacks will come in because it's an attack that wants to keep you down and feeling less than what you really are because you're actually not less. You're greater than. And that's why these energies, entities, spirits, what have you, that are unable to see things for themselves. So they become angry when you start showing them, when you start becoming your higher being. I was just asked, what is a higher being? The higher being is spirit. That's the higher. You see it head, feel it right there. I just got that like somebody had an experience on Valentine's Day where they were in an abusive relationship and they were I'm getting that it was a violent, yeah, a violent trauma right here in the right rib cage. Whoa. I just heard smashed with a sledgehammer. Whoa. Kieta is oye. I've said it many times. My channel's not full. Um, that's why, like, I don't say. I don't say about gifts or what have you because it's not your money I want. It's all to see you heal. I, I used to say about that help, help. it's not help. It's actually assisting because you're helping yourself. And I've said other times, like, and some people have gotten perturbed with me saying this. God helps those who help themselves. Okay, and I just got that clear of how is that? Okay, well, think of it this way. Okay, when I say God helps those who helps themselves, if you're helping yourself, then you know that God is helping you because it's that part of you that is beginning to embody spirit. You're beginning to let go of the control that keeps you confined, I guess you could say. And I'm still feeling it in here because I'm getting that it was possibly recent. I just heard like maybe 5 months ago. They say no, I don't read cards. It's just things come to me. What am I talking? I'm talking about Valentine's Day and how hard it can be on many people this time. It's about connecting with others, and it's hard, especially right now. And when you start, said it, when you start feeling, yeah, I know, you see, yeah. Right now, I got an attack coming at me that really doesn't like what I have to say, and that's okay. Everything just comes out. I'm a constant channeler in English, in signing, quantum healing. It's like moving energies in my body. Right here, it's like we're I connect with others' bodies, other people's bodies. And somebody, like they said, other people have said, well, you shouldn't do that. Like, well, you shouldn't try telling me what to do because, you have no clue what my mission is. You have no clue what I'm here for. Maybe you're here for one thing, but I'm here for something totally different. I'm here to help spirits move forward. I'm here to help spirits communicate with one another. So like I said, when I sit with someone, I feel a spirit coming in. I feel the spirits coming around very intensely sometimes. I feel the attacks and I feel when it's the spirit to spirit, and I acknowledge it. But it's easier doing it when you're actually face to face with someone. And it's like I won't go. I won't go in a private place in per se because right now it's more comfortable for me to be more like out in the public, just sitting off to the side with the person. Um, because when you're working with spirit to spirit, okay, if you're in a confined, like really in a confined space, then it's kind of like they just bounce off the walls, okay? Because every spirit is trying to find its way. Same as we're trying to find our way home. Well, we're all trying. When I say home, okay, if the heart is within you, and you're looking for home, well, what you're actually doing is you're looking for yourself. Because a lot of the time, it's like We want to be in another place because we don't like where we're at that moment. It's I just heard manifestation. Yes, we manifest. So if we can manifest good things, we're also manifesting like the harder things. I used to um, be in the mindset of always think the worst case scenario because that way I would be ready for it to happen. So I'd always feel like the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario would happen. So I was always prepared for it instead of like now, I don't look at the worst case scenario because I don't really look at any scenario because when I try to go and put myself in the future, I see, but I just kind of let it go and be back in the now because the more you try to make something happen, the more resistance you're going to get because you're not having patience. You're getting frustrated with yourself. So instead of being patient and just going with the flow, I still do it myself. I just want to push it. It's like, no, come on, it's not coming fast enough. Holy crap. Right? So I just got, yes, I am expressed it in many ways. I've told people off in the different languages, but it's not so much the person as it is the spirit that is embodying that person. Because as I said, we're all experiencing spirit. And that's why people could be one way one minute, and then the next minute they totally switch. But if you watch what I'm doing, I explain what I'm experiencing because I'm aware of it happening. Have I? No. Have I had the urges? Yes, I've had the spirits have urges, and like I've seen parts where like people would get into it, and I literally see people throwing each other through the wall. And it's like what? I've actually had someone say to me because I'm a spirit and I stand up for myself now. And a lot of people can't stand up for themselves or want to be superior to someone else. They don't want to stand up for themselves. I had someone say to me, like, if you were a man, and it was just like I just looked right back at them and said, "Yeah, well, if I were a man, I'd throw you through the wall." And at the same time that I said that, I said, "Throw you through the wall for the way that you treat women." So right when I said that, I actually visualized someone throwing someone through the wall. Do I have lots of visions? Yes, I do. I have them walking, and we have them sleeping. We're just told, oh, well, those are dreams. And no, they're actually experiences that you have gone through, whether it's be in this timeline. That's the part of it can result in PTSD. We say trauma. Well, trauma is actually something that happens at the moment. That's trauma, but it becomes a PTSD. So they say post-traumatic stress disorder, but what it is it's your memory coming back. Only it keeps coming back because it's trying to show you something, and it may show different parts of it, and it's right is your spirit getting it? Because I've come to realize that not every bit of our memories or our experiences were actually our really our own. We might have experienced it or felt we experienced it or dreamt we experienced it, but as you talk to other people, you start to see more of the similarities. Okay. And I've been noticing that more and more. Eucalyptus tea with mint tea. I see that more and more, and I experience it more and more. I've actually expressed some of my visions to some people, and they're like, "Well, those are very vivid," and they get agitated. So it leaves me wondering, like, is this something that the spirit that is within that person at that moment? Did I just bring something forward to that spirit that spirit never really looked at or just tried to push aside because of what it brought forth? I've had visions like dream states, but it's like when you feel, they say it's a dream, but you wake up and you feel exhausted. You felt like you went through it when you were experiencing it in some form, whether you were seeing it because you got like clarity, you're sharing it with your counterparts, and it's all like it's like putting the pieces of the puzzle back together, figuring out what is yours and what is not yours, and that can be difficult for anybody. Like difficult for anybody. Sometimes, yes, it is difficult for me. Not always, because I'm aware of it, and when you become aware of it, then it starts becoming easier to navigate. It becomes easier to recognize it. I've actually been doing this year and a half to 2 years where I've been doing what I'm doing now. But when I first started to speak it, the first, like what came out of my mouth was a name. And I looked it up. It was a very, like, someone that did a lot of wrong in the world. And then all of a sudden, one day, after the experience, it was like all of a sudden I called it, like it was like Tesseract or Tesseract. So I was saying about an energy source. And at that time, I didn't know until I had somebody tell me, like, hey, like, this is what they're talking about in the Marvel movies. I'm here to tell you the Marvel stuff, they tell you it's fiction, but it's actually not. You can call me crazy, delusional, or just out to lunch, and I got to say, proud to be. Because it means that I'm not afraid to express and bring forth who I am and what I'm about. Because I accept spirit, and I know that like it's allowing yourself to see all the sides of everyone. And sometimes it freaks me out because like you can get really hard, dark, disdaining energy come at you. And I'm learning more and more how to deflect it and know when to like kind of let it, when to just kind of put the barrier up to say, hey, like, okay, because you're not always ready for that. They say, hey, I just heard, how do you handle it? Sometimes it becomes very intense, but laying down, just kind of resting and getting out of your head, because your head is a lot of your head is what will more or less kind of lead you astray in certain senses, um, because it keeps you in mind, and that's where a lot of us have been. We've been in our mind, and we haven't been connected with our heart, and that's why we've been so angry, judgmental. Um, they say criticism. Well, personally, in my opinion, if you're giving criticism that makes a person feel shitty, I just heard, what about constructive criticism? Well, I don't really agree with constructive criticism in that either, because I look at it's like, um, I just had the word encourage people to do the things that they enjoy doing, opposed to if they don't enjoy doing it, and it's just not what they become frustrated. It's not about giving them constructive criticism, because right now a lot of us are doing things that we don't want to do, and a lot of us had dreams of things that we wanted to do, but because of the words of other people and what other people will say or think, we're told, well, no, you have to do this. Like, you can't do that because there's no money in it. Like, wait a minute. I'm here to tell you, like, if you're doing something that you enjoy and you're good at it, you're going to make money at it. It may take some time, but it's believing in yourself. It's not about sitting in an office and sitting on a computer and typing all day or serving people burgers and what have you. If you enjoy doing that, well, that you enjoy doing that. But it's then that becomes part of, hey, if you enjoy doing that type of stuff, why not open your own, like, find a way to be able to open your own restaurant? Just that part. It's not about like letting people shoot you down, because say about hell and heaven, okay? Everybody believes it's a place. It's the place that you make it, because hell and heaven is within yourself. We keep ourselves in hell by not seeing our own self worth and listening to every Joe Blow or Sue Saunders down the road that says, oh, well, you can't do this. Or it's even our parents, because that's how they were brought up. But if there's something you enjoy doing, even if you started off as just like a hobby, hobbies transform into great things. It's systems that leave you feeling less on what you are, because it keeps a vicious circle. And you hear, and it's like people, oh, you sin, you're a sinner. Take your sin word and sinner word and cram it up your butt, because sins actually mean systems integrated into society. That's what it was showing us. It was trying to show us the sins, the systems that are integrated into society that we're following. And it's making us angry. It's making us bitter. It's making us act out. And that's why it was said. They don't know what they say or do. But like myself now, if I did something, I could not go and say, I know not what I say or do, because I know damn well what I'm saying and what I'm doing. Because I'm aware. I'm awake to it. I've done things in my past like everyone. You can't take it back, and you're supposed to learn from it. But at those times when I've done stuff that I'm not proud of, it's the part of just being able to let it go instead of feeling like you have to keep reliving it. Yes, I do continue. I do see some of my stuff, like some of my uh, experiences, over and over again. And when I see that, it's like trying to kind of figure out one thing or another. But if you go on it too long, because if it's meant to pop out, meant to stand out, it will. Some things I do ponder on for a bit, and that's okay because it's the part of sitting with it, sitting with yourself, feeling it, feeling what you're experiencing, and describing it to yourself what you're experiencing, because you are your own best therapist, only you don't know it because somebody's always telling you, oh, well, you need someone else. It's good to have somebody that can actually work with you to see. It's not about doing the work for you. It's assisting you to see what you're not seeing or what you're not hearing yourself say. And that's a lot of what I do. It's the picking, not just sitting and listening. It's actually having a conversation, one-on-one conversation with the person as spirit, letting go of like just allowing spirit to come through because each spirit is talking to each other through us. And like I said, some people don't comprehend that right now because looking in a book for the answers or misunderstanding the interpretation of what it's saying. And that's difficult. I just heard that I read the Bible. I did when I was 12. And that was the first 11 or 12. And that was because of this first experience that I had with regards to energy. But at that time, I did not know what was happening because I was 11 and I was swinging on a swing. And I was standing up. And when I was standing up, I jumped down to sit down. And when I jumped down to sit down, I kind of missed half of the seat, but I was coming this way. And there was a 2x4 embedded in the ground. And when I come that way, it smashed it like right on that part of my knee. So it was just like I knew my knee was like right out of place, and I was screaming. And somebody ran to get my family members, some people that someone to come get me. So they carried me home, and I was at home waiting for my mom to come home. And the people next door, they were very of the church, and they were into the energy healing and what have you. But I knew nothing about it at that time. And my sister, one of my sisters and her friend, they carried me over, sitting in the chair, and a few of them, they come over and they put their hands on my legs, on my leg, on that part. And I was all screaming. And all of a sudden, they started praying. And when they started praying, I could actually literally feel the bone moving back into place. Okay? I could feel it moving back into place. I got carried in there screaming and bawling. But when I left there, I was running. So do I believe in this stuff? Yes, very much so. Because that's the part of the power of belief, power of your own faith of yourself, that you are your own healer and you can heal yourself. Just sometimes we need assistance, and it's not always about going and getting a pill. I use crystals. I use frequencies. I use I use the sun. I use meditation. Some parts of meditation. Could I tell you what crystals are what? No, because I don't like right now. I don't even know the name. I just know what feels right. If I'm drawn to something, I'm drawn to it for a reason. If I get something and then I bring it home, like before I bring it home, my house feels fine and calm and what have you. And then I bring it home and then it just doesn't feel like home anymore. It's like, okay, it's like that's not meant for me. So I either give it away or I like take it back. It's like, no, what if somebody gives me a gift? I've actually had people give me stuff and I felt that I had to remove it from my home. And sometimes it was more of a frustration, and I wanted nothing around me that reminded me of the experience. No, because I know everybody's going to come around on their own time. Like it seems that I've hurt on someone. It's because the experience was getting out of hand, and there was no understanding. Sometimes it's like giving it to and showing them, and sometimes you just people have you got to let people go because they have to find their own journey. Sometimes you can only do so much, and then it's saying, okay, I can keep doing this till a given state, but it's not going to be of any assistance until the person actually accepts. It's not about me going back to that person because I know that they are capable of doing it themselves. It's like, yep, sometimes we do end up in a psychiatric unit. I know because, well, I was 17 when I ended up lying in because I overdosed. And I was in the psychiatric unit in 99 because as I said before, I used the Ouija board and become enlightened and had no clue what was going on with me. I even thought myself as being like crazy because that's what they were telling me. But on the other hand, I knew that something spiritual was going on. And then my, the next time, it was 2020. It was after I had died and come back. I had an experience. And well, in 2011, I overdosed. And then in 2020, ended up overdosing because I was going through I was going through a very horrifying experience, and I felt like everyone would be better off without me, but I was wrong. So that the night that I overdosed in 2020, I had it was my mother and there was a male person like a male spirit. They were saying, no, Tara, don't do it. And I'm hearing it on the spiritual plane, don't do it, don't do it. And I took, there was like 30 hydromorphone pills in the bottle, and I took the bottle and I went, if I'm meant to be saved, I will be saved. And bottoms up. And I laid there, laid down, and I could feel myself kind of drifting away. And I don't tell people this to feel sorry for me or anything like that. I'm explaining that this is what people go through. They're feeling like there's no other way out. They just want it to stop. So I was laying there and I could feel myself going, and I could feel like I was literally moving, like somebody was shaking me like that. Come on, Terry, you gotta get up, honey, you gotta get up. What did you do? No, what did you do? Come on, get up. And I'm just there. And then all of a sudden, it was like someone took my leg and just flung it on the floor. And then flung my other one on the floor. I was laying down, and all of a sudden, it was just like somebody hauled me right up. And two people, one on each side. Couldn't see them, one on each side, but knew it was my mom in the middle. Picked me right up, start walking, and then this side of my body was drooping. They kept lifting me up. Come on, Tara, come on, you can do it. Let's clean, because I had started cleaning because of this experience that I had. I just wanted to get clean, so I was going for an ad, but I was still having the experience from the night before. So they were like, come on, come on. And started doing dishes, and then I just keep trying to pill bottles. I started taking, as on time, I was on Keppra for a seizure disorder. I kept taking the Keppra pills. I was taking Gravol to keep me from being sick. I was taking milk and just taking it so I wouldn't throw it back up. And then they got me in the tub, and I was laying in the tub. And after I got out of the tub, I took more pills. And I went and I laid down in my bed. Laid me in my bed. I lay there, and every time I woke up through the night, I'd go and I'd grab more pills because I just. And then I got someone dealing with this because I'm feeling crying. Yeah, there's relating. And then through the night, I woke up and I was violently vomiting. And it was all water coming out. So after when that happened, I went and I took some more pills. And then like right now, I'm looking into the other part of the experience because it's about like putting things out there once in a while. It was like I did wake up the next morning, but the day before that, I had said that it was being ripped apart. As I was being ripped apart, like you have your energy, and when your higher being, your higher self, your higher spirit comes in to protect you. It was like I was up in here, feel like I could tell, like I could feel my body ripped apart, but I wasn't feeling pain because I was up in here. And I felt it was like a lot of profanity. Where did you fucking put her? Where did you put her? We're taking her with us. This stuff. Okay. So it's very sounding demonic and what have you, because it's a spirit fighting spirit. And it's yes, the metaphor of like Jesus fighting his own demons. Okay. Because whenever you got healed and they said he was taking on your stuff or what have you, well, that was the aspect of it. So this part, this hand, all of a sudden I was just, and then all of a sudden I could, it was like energy was drawing out and drawing out. And then all of a sudden it was like, I connected with the whole left side of my body. And I started moving the energy from within, connecting with all the electrical currents of my body, the water, the cells, and what have you, the muscles. And I just started twisting and crushing it. I could feel it at this time. The entity, spirit, what have you, screaming and saying, trying to make me feel pain and stuff like that. At that time, I didn't know what was going on, but I let go. And this is where jealousy comes in. Like some get frustrated because they see like, what I'm experiencing. And some people get jealous. I'm going to tell you one thing. What I experienced is nothing to be jealous about. Because when that happened, and at the same time that I let go, I hollered for God to help me. And there's actually back in the early 1900s, I forget his name, but some people have the same experience where it's like a flash of light within here. It just like it explodes, whether it comes or however it works. It was like I was experiencing somebody getting electrocuted. And it was like a strong voltage going through the body. So whoever this person was, like or spirit that experienced it, it was like it was violent. And because of the experience, I can't eat pork. I can't stand the smell of it because when that happened, it actually smelled like all I could smell was ham, like ham cooking. I'm not afraid to express my experiences, and it's not about like bringing like it's not about looking for any kind of sympathy or anything like that. It's saying to you that you're not alone with your experiences because I know a lot of you are experiencing stuff you cannot explain. It's terrifying. Yeah, I'm getting that. It's like it's like a blockage, just a blockage, just a stuck a blockage. Right now, you know, sort of in a form of meditation to find it and shift it. Because there's a lot of people right now that want to express. Yeah, they have that. Some of what I'm explaining is the reason why some people feel alone, because they are misunderstood. A lot of times it's because they don't know how to put something in words. A lot of us get too proud to ask for help because we feel like we're strong enough to do it on our own. But sometimes, like with this, yeah, that's why they say your spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors. Yeah, it's like I told somebody that there's two forms of pride. Okay? There's the pride of what they say, okay, swallow your pride and ask for help when you need it. And then there's the pride of taking pride in the things that you do and accomplish well. But I know that the word pride is in different parts of the spirituality. It's been thrown around. And I hear people, like, I've heard people say, oh, swallow it, like, you just get over your pride. Well, you have no idea what that person's experiencing or feeling, especially not taking this time to even remotely understand them. But those are the ones that are saying, oh, will you just go away? Like, we're tired of hearing what you, like, all you do is this or that. It's like, okay. That's when I say to them, like, okay, then you just remember when you do that. Because everyone has done it. But there's some that think, well, oh, I haven't done it. I haven't done it. You're not perfect. And you have, just by denying the fact that you did that or do that. Maybe you should have a look at your ego, like everyone else is expected to. Yes, I look at my ego all the time because I know that sometimes my ego tries to come out. Like last night, I was sitting with it and I could feel like if my ego would come out because I'd say, well, like, no, do it this way. It's like, and then I caught myself. I caught myself real, and then I apologized to them and said, like, okay, yeah, I caught that. It's the part of being open to what others have to bring forth. It's not all about like what you have because like it may work for you, but it's not always what the other person feels comfortable doing. That's why I've said before about books. Okay, books can be a guide. That's sort of what they are. It's not supposed to be about, oh well, this is the right way. This is the right way. And although they like to tell you that, especially when you're working in psychology or what have you, go and you learn book stuff, you learn about theory and stuff like that. But are you learning about the person on an experience level? Actually understanding instead of being worried or being concerned with, oh, well, I got to label you or we can't help you. It's like, really? Like, they put a label on it. And when that label goes on, it sticks for a lot of us. So it keeps us from being able to achieve the things that we want to achieve because every time you go for assistance in that sense, you're too busy looking back on your records. Wow. And that's the same as Valentine, like Valentine's Day. When I say about records, we look back at our own records. a lot of us sit. Siete, rima, it's seriously, okay? I know, it's like, holy shit, man, this lady flip switches. Yeah, I'm working with many spirits and I'm not keeping notes. I'm not sure. Everybody is unique doing their spirit guides. And I'm not going to be, I'm not, it's not about being like a counselor or therapist. You get 1 hour. And then you end up talking about the same thing over and over, and it doesn't give you the room or the time to really dig deep because you're sitting there and it's complete and you're told to be the only one talking. We always find what you're searching for when you communicate. You know, you look on your computers because you're looking for some information. So you're looking at the computer for physical exterior information. Why are we not looking at ourselves? At what it is we're trying to sort out or let go of. Speak for him. It's not about me knowing what language I'm speaking or always what I'm saying, because maybe the message is not like it's because not always is that message for me. It's for a spirit. It's for another spirit, from a spirit to a spirit. I do look at the sun. I love looking at the sun. It actually helps me see better. I mean, when you first start doing it, they say, "Yeah, I just heard somebody say, it gives you glaucoma." Okay, well, that's what you were led to believe. I've been staring at the sun since 2020, and there are times when I just walk right on it. It's like when you say it, and they say the sun is harmful for us. Well, when it becomes harmful for us, a lot of time it's because the chemicals that are in your body or on your body are reacting to it. So we get some salama. It's pretty trippy. But I am able to sit with myself and entertain myself, but it's not myself entertaining. It's spirit entertaining spirit, but it's not really. You know, I mean, I have laughs and stuff like that, and I just heard somebody say psychotic. Well, think what you will. As long as I know the difference, that's all that matters to me. So I guess you're going to think what you will. Maybe you're a doctor. Who knows? But that's the part of it. Maybe you're set in you're set in your ways, or you're set in your beliefs. So if you're set in your beliefs, why are you knocking someone else for their beliefs? In all honesty, if I wouldn't want you for my doctor in that sense, because you're not open to different things. You go buy a book of theories, something that's been drilled into your head, and then you forget about your own experiences. Because most people, when they go into psychology, it's because they're trying to figure it out themselves. But I'm here to tell you that if you're trying to figure it out yourself, you might want to look within and spiritually look at yourself. Because that's where mental health issues come from. It actually comes from your spiritual health, your spiritual well-being. And when you connect your spiritual health and your spiritual well-being with healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then that's when you become enlightened. That's when you become awake. That's when you start understanding where other people are coming from. And that's when you start being able to be a real person assisting, guiding, and teaching. No, I don't think I'm better than everybody else. Yes, I know that there are people that really feel that I feel that way, but they're wrong about it because I get that feeling from them. Because I see the potential in people. I see their self-worth that they don't see, but I can't force you to see it. It's like you may take a horse and lead it to water. You can try dipping its head in, but it ain't going to drink unless it wants to drink or ready to drink. That's spirit putting it out there in a different form because it's coming out in different forms. Because it's not just English speaking people, it's our ancestors and it's universal languages. It's not necessarily the everyday languages that you know of. Because there is so much that you don't know about. Languages that are coming forward and they don't know what languages they are. They don't always know what it's saying. Okay. There are many people out there. Some call it tongues. And I just heard somebody say that's the one. Well, you think what you, but that's what a system will lead you to believe. Because, like I said, it's spirit to spirit, and everybody like there's been hostility and fighting. So the spirits are still like they're here, and that's why you get all the fighting. It's like history repeating itself. It's because when nothing gets resolved, when nobody wants to sit down and have a conversation, opposed to sitting there hollering at each other and dissing each other and talking bad about each other, whether it be their ethnic background, their religion, what have you. I'm not throwing shade on anyone's religion. Because it's not the religion so much as it is the person. Because everything all gets twisted around. Pieces of the puzzle missing. Everything's scattered all over the place in different forms. I've even seen in some where things were worded different. Well, if it was their writing, how is it worded any different? You got it from their writing. Dice, totoo siya nakiyotoi. Amariasa. I'm not patronizing you. I'm not talking down to you. It's like, think about it. It's like it's supposed to be the same person, but it's not even written the same. But that's the part where it's the timeline. So everything they call it multi-dimensions. That's where all the timelines and the dimensions of what happened all around. And that's why things are feeling like it's just like, whoa, 1 minute it's this way, the next minute it's that way, or it's this way and that way, and that don't make sense, and this don't make sense, and this makes perfectly sense. Right now, I'm looking at all the narratives, but I know that the positive narratives. I know, like I've watched the YouTube videos where they have the cure for cancer, but they say they're still looking for it. It's been on news, late 80s, 90s, even one was in like 2000. One was like recently. And then one day I was looking up about cell phones in the school, kids having their cell phones in the school. And it was so freaking strange because 10 years ago they were saying that cell phones aren't in the school, allowed in the school in Nova Scotia and Quebec and I think Ottawa or Ontario or something like that. And in British Columbia, they were saying that cell phones were. And then I was reading another article where it said about when the ministers were saying that they're not gonna ban cell phones in school, and that was just like a year ago. It's like what? So when I was reading that, I was like, whoa, glitch, man. Okay, that's when you realize when it don't make sense, it's because you're going back and forth. You're seeing different things. You're experiencing different things. That doesn't mean, and I know it does in Bashar. This man channels Bashar, and I understand. And sometimes I talk to Bashar on a spiritual level, but I would not bring his stuff forward because he has his channel. It may come forward from me, but I don't ask to know because I feel it, and I know when it's a trickery. Sometimes it starts. It's like, well, okay, this don't feel right because it makes your body not feel right. I experience this stuff all the time. Well, like I said, many different ways. Do I feel it to be a burden? Not so much a burden, more of a gift. Because from the time I was little, I always said I wanted to be a counselor. And then I had my own stuff. And then Spirit kept telling it, like Spirit was trying to explain to me, you can't be a therapist or a counselor or anything like that until you understand yourself. And that's what we make for being a good guide, good teacher, good not only listener, but someone that can actually help the people to see the stuff that's suppressing them. Because it's always easier to talk to and relate with someone else who has experienced the same or similar things. That's what I say about group therapy. Sometimes group therapy, it don't work. A lot of time it's more of a one-on-one with someone. But it's not about like going back and forth and just constantly talking about your experiences and not really seeing things for what it is, just kind of bouncing off one another, going back and forth. It's about finding a way to Express it, pull it out. And as I said before, sometimes when I'm doing that, I will piss you off. And it's not about you jumping up, because I will explain what I'm experiencing, and I know that it's not always your reaction, and that's where I explain that, like, I'll say, like, I know it's not you, but there's a spirit there that just wants to pulverize me, because I can feel that, I can feel the urge, and that's okay, because, like I said, not necessarily is it the person I'm talking with, or sitting with, that has the disdain or jealousy or anger or frustrations towards me. It's the spirit that's embodied them, that's within them, that's seeking their assistance. Not only the person that is there for the assistance, for the guidance, but it's actually the person that is doing it. And that's why we are more and more spiritual guides are coming in. Some are using tarot cards, some are using crystals, some are using energy healing, they're teaching yoga, meditation, the natural healing, the natural medicines that our ancestors had right, but greed got in the way. It's like energy ball I just threw it at your chest. Get away. Woohoo! I'm going to embody it because I'm going to put it to good use, because it tells me that you have a pain and you're angry. And if it is you or what have you that don't like me, that's okay. Because I can't say that I don't like you because I don't even know you. Well, don't we all like to be heard? Because I heard somebody say you like to be heard. It's like, yeah, and obviously you do too for saying that. But that's okay. Because like I said, we all want to be heard. And sometimes it's the part of where we holler so loud and we're not heard. Because that's when everybody's yelling at the same time. That's when you get that mind fog. That's when everything comes all in at once. That's where you get like people that are in the psychiatric unit because they say that it's schizophrenia or what have you. It's because they don't know how to deal with it. They are experiencing on a spiritual level, but most of the medical community that we have today, that is said to be the right medical community, I'm going to be honest, I see that causing more harm. Sometimes it's like, I'll give you a pill, I'll put a band-aid on it. Meanwhile, down in the deep inside, you may not have the physical scars on the exterior body, but that's where all the scars are, is on the internal. And a lot of times it's because we can't get you can't it doesn't go deep enough. I don't just sit with someone for an hour. I sit with the person until they're done, until they're ready to stop talking or going through or what have you. But I have a conversation with them. I don't just sit there and listen. have a conversation with them and ask questions, because that's the way you get, that's like, asking questions. That's the only way that you're going to find really the answers that you're looking for. And the answers, they're not in a book. They're not on a computer. They're not out there. The answers are right in here. I do videos when spirit calls me to do them. Sometimes I resist because I'm just not feeling it at the moment, or there's a part of me that just, I get nervous sometimes because of the topics that I talk about. Because I can become assertive, aggressive at points. I can become a bitch. You actually see me crying because I connect with people on a very deep level, and you can actually see it. It's a lot of the time it looks like I have multiple personalities. Well, I have every spirit has its own personality. So I guess if every spirit has its own personality, then I guess I have multiple personalities. 这个带出来呀，木过呀啥，这个喂，呀，不要，你可以买给爱，可以，看看。Right now, I'm working on the hair chakras. Yes, I feel it. So, if you stayed and watched and listened or what have you, and I hope you got some useful knowledge, information, what have you. Oh, there's confirmation. The train just going by. I usually read these cards. I didn't like at the beginning, but I usually do. So I'm going to read one now. One day I may come on and just do a quick tarot reading, but that's not not what I do. That's why I use these cards, because when I draw the cards, it's actually reflecting beforehand what I'm about to talk about, or it's actually at the end it gives us like a summary of what the message was, sometimes pertaining to, or what have you, things like that. There, I don't know if you can see it. It says, I'm really taking a good look at the big picture. That's the difference between being around for the final or watching the final from my sofa at home. I mean, I guess that's however you would interpret that. what I'm getting is that people are actually seeing the big picture, and it's not always being there at the end, but observing the outcome. But that's, like I said, I could be wrong. We have one kids. Maybe being in the midst of something, or seeing it on a screen. Yeah, todo isso, tudo bem. So, with that being said, I hope I can figure out how to stop this now. With that being said, I send you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. Want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self. Be true to yourself, be true to others. And when you are being authentic, don't try to be somebody who, like, it's not about being somebody who somebody tells you you have to be or that you are. It's about you being authentic. Love you. Oh, look at that. Later.